Okay, welcome back everyone. Okay, we continue. with the next force. Okay, the next force is the bargaining power of supplier. Okay, supplier can suppress the profitability of the industry to which they sell by raising prices or reducing the quality of the components that they provide. So if a supplier they reduce the quality of the components is the price, the quality of the finished product will suffer. Okay, the manufacturers will eventually have to lower its price. And let's say if the supplier are powerful relative to the firms in the industry to which they sell, the industry profitability can suffer. So here are the factors that have an impact on the ability of supplier to exert pressures on the buyer. Okay, the first one is the supplier concentrations. So when there are only a few suppliers that supply a critical product to a large number of buyers, so the supplier has an advantage. Okay, what are the advantages that they have? Okay, for example, they can increase the prices. Okay, so let's say if in the case of the pharmaceutical industry, okay, when there are very little or very few drug manufacturers are selling to thousands of doctors and also to their patients. Okay, that's why we can see some of the drugs, okay, some of the medicines are very expensive because suppliers are very few. And then the second factor, switching costs. Switching costs are the fixed costs that buyer encounter when switching or changing from one supplier to another. So if switching costs are high, a buyer will be less likely to switch the supplier. Okay, for example, suppliers they often provide their largest buyer with specialized software. Okay, that makes it easy to buy the product. So, excuse me. So let's say after the buyer, they spend their times, they spend their efforts, okay, they learn about the supplier ordering and the inventory management system. So it will be less likely for them to spend another time and efforts learning another supplier system. Okay, so because this will become the switching costs. Okay, the cost, the times that they have. Okay, the efforts. Okay, all of these are the switching costs. And then the next factor is the attractiveness of the substitutes. Okay, supplier power is enhanced if there are no attractive substitutes for the product or services the supplier offer. Okay, for example, if in the computer industry, okay, the Microsoft, okay, and Intel, they can raise their prices, okay, as there are very few substitutes for this firm product, okay, although this is less true today than has been the case historically, okay. Another example is Shells, Petronas, okay, all of this because there are less substitutes, okay, less substitutes. They can increase the price, they can lower the price. And then the next factors is the traits of the forward integrations. The power of a supplier is enhanced if there is a credible possibility that the supplier might enter the buyer industry. Okay, might enter the buyer industry. For example, Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft Power is a supplier of the computer operating system. Okay, this Microsoft, they enhanced by the tricks that it might enter the PC industry if the PC maker was too much at the cost of its software or threatens to use an operating system from a different software provider. Okay, this is the trick of the forward integrations. Next force is the bargaining power of buyer. Okay. Buyer can suppress the profitability of the industry from which they purchase by demanding the price concessions or increase in quality. For example, if in the automobile industry, okay, automobile industry is dominated by a handful of large companies that buy the product from thousands of suppliers in different industries. So this allows the automakers to suppress the profitability of the industry from which they buy by demanding the price reductions. The buyer they will have the bargaining powers when there is too much seller, okay, that when there is too much supplier too many suppliers in the industry, but little buyer in the industry. Okay, then the buyer will have the bargaining power. Okay, they can demand for the price reductions. They can demand for the increase in the quality of the product, okay, from the suppliers. Okay, because here the supplier they compete with each other, okay, to get the buyer for their products. So here are the factors that have an impact on the ability of buyer to exert pressure on the supplier. First one is the buyer group concentrations. If there are only a few large buyers and they buy from a large number of suppliers, they can pressure the supplier to lower the cost, okay, and thus affect the profitability of the industry from which they buy. And the second factor is the buyer cost. The greater the importance of an item is to a buyer, the more sensitive the buyer will be to the price it pays. If, for example, if you want to buy a very expensive product, okay, let's say if you want to buy a house, okay, we know that the price of the house is very high, okay, more than 100,000. So we as the buyer will become more sensitive, okay, when it comes to all of these expensive items, okay. And as the degree of the standardizations of the supplier products, the degree to which a supplier product differ from its competitors affects the buyer bargaining power. This is another wow factor, okay, another competitive advantages of the supplier product, okay. For example, a buyer who is purchasing a standard or undifferentiated product from a suppliers, okay, for example, you want to buy syrups, okay, that goes into a soft drink, can play one supplier against another until it gets the best combinations of features, okay, such as the price and also the services, okay. This way we can see for some of the soft drink product, okay, they come with different flavor. They come with lots of flavor. Okay, for example, Pepsi. The reasons why Pepsi they comes out with a lime flavor. Okay, lime flavor for the Pepsi. And the next factor is the trick of the backward integrations. The power of buyer is enhanced if there is a credible threat to the buyer. They might enter the supplier industry. Okay, they might enter the supply industry. For example, if for the PC industry, if the PC industry, they can keep the price of the computer monitors down by threatening to make its own monitor if the price get too high, okay? If the supplier sell with a higher price, then the buyer can say, never mind, I can make by my own, okay? I don't have to buy from you. So this is the trick of backward integrations. The buyer can enter the supplier industry, okay? They make their own product, okay? They supply their own product. So the first applications of the five forces model. The five forces model can be used to assess the attractiveness of an industry by determining the level of threats to industry profitability for each of the forces. Okay, so if a firm they fill out the form, okay, in the next slide, this form, and several of the traits in industry profitability are high, the firm may want to reconsider entering the industry or think carefully about the positions it will occupy. This is the example of the firm, okay, of the forms that we can use to assess the industry attractiveness by using the five forces model. For example, okay, if you want to join the F&B industry, okay, you select the industry. Step number 2, you determine the level of the trade to industry profitability for each of the forces. Okay, for example, low, medium, or high. Okay, for example, F&B industry. Okay, how about the trade of certitude in the F&B industry? If for me the trade of certitude is very high, okay, it's very high for the F&B industry because there's a lot of competitors selling the same product. How about the trade of new entrants? It's also very high, okay? It's very high because the cost is very low, okay? For the F&B industry, the cost is very low. How about the revenue amongst the existing firm? Very high, right? Okay, it's very high. There's a lot of competitors. How about the bargaining power of the supplier? Okay, bargaining power of the suppliers. If there is a lot of supplier in the F&B industry, okay, the threat to the industry, it may be very high, okay. How about the bargaining power of the buyers? If there's a little buyer, okay, the bargaining power of the buyer will be high. If there is less buyer, okay, the bargaining power of the buyer will become very low. So this is the instructions, okay, step by step, how you assess your industry by using the 5 forces model. Actually, for this 5 force model, okay, these tables comes out in which semester? May semester. If I'm not mistaken, in May semester or January semester, okay, this one is come out in the individual assignments, okay, individual assignments. And in that assignments, actually, whatever you answer, okay, for the industry, for the case study, okay, you are given one case study, and then the students were asking to fill in this table, okay, for that study, and then how they do it is whatever the answer that they give, as long as they can give a good justifications, okay, their answer can be correct, as long as the justifications is acceptable. For example, the tree of certitude. If you say low, okay, if you say low, you need to justify why you say low. If your justification is acceptable, your answer can be correct, okay? This one already comes out in, I think, January semester, individual assignment, final assessment for this one. Okay, second, applications of the 5 force model. The second way a new firms can apply the 5 force model to help determine whether it should enter an industry is by using the model to answer several key questions. Okay, so what are the questions? Here are the key questions. We look at this, all of this. Okay, the questions number 1. Is the industry a realistic place for a new venture? Okay. So for this question, it can be answered, okay, by looking at the overall attractiveness of an industry, okay, and then assessing whether the window of opportunity of the industry is open or not. And it's up to the entrepreneurs to determine if the window of opportunity for the industry is open or closed. Okay, let's say if your answer for questions number 1 is yes. Okay, is yes. You can go to all of these questions. You can go to all of these questions. You can ask yourself, are there areas in which we can avoid or dismiss the factor that suppress the industry profitability? Is there a unique positions in the industry that avoid or dismiss the factor that suppress the industry profitability? Or is there a superior business model that can be put in place that will be hard for the industry incumbents to replicate? These 3 questions. For example, these questions, okay, you need to ask either can you do a better job than the industry as a whole in avoiding all these minimizing the impact of the forces that suppress the industry profitable. Because entering an industry with a very fresh brands, okay, because you are a new businesses, innovative idea in a world-class management team and performing better than the industry can increase the likelihoods a new venture will be successful. Okay? Use the traditional barrel of entry just now. Innovative idea, you can hire a good management team, a ventures team, okay? You can success with these traditional methods. So this was the case when, for example, the Google, okay, when the Google, they want to enter the internet search engine industry and displace Yahoo as the market leader. So outperforming industry, they can also be achieved with a new ventures. They bring an attractive new product to market. Okay? So that's why I always asking about the wow factor for your product. What is your wow factor? Your product must have wow factor. Okay. And these questions, is there a unique positions? For this one, you need to have some advantage. Okay, you need to have some advantage. What are the special things? Okay, what are the unique positions that you have? Okay, and this one is there a superior business model? Okay, for this one, you need to keep in mind that the five forces model is provide a feature of an industry as is, okay, which is not necessarily the way a new venture has to approach. Sometimes it's for the big company, okay, the largest firms. They are trapped by their own strategy and also contractual obligations, okay. For example, Dell Company. Their company they start selling computers directly to consumer. Okay, its largest rivals is Compass, IBM. Okay, their competitor were not able to respond quickly and effectively. So they will look into a strategy of selling through retailer. So if they have tried to mimic the Dell and sell directly to end user or customer, they will have alternate their most valuable partner. Okay, for example, the partners is the Best Buy. Okay, however, the Dell competitors they have learned how to effectively and efficiently sell directly to consumer. Lastly, erases the Dell history advantage in the process of doing so. Okay, so you ask yourself these three questions. If the answer for these three questions are yes, then a positive response to any of these questions increase the likelihoods of the new venture to success. If the answer is no, okay, you have negative response, then you need to consider against the new venture, reconsider the new venture. Okay, if from the first question just now, your answer is directly no, that means you need to reconsider it again, reconsider the new venture. Okay. So industry types and the opportunities they offer. Okay. So first type is the imaging industry. Imaging industry is in which the standard operating procedures (SOP) have yet to be developed. Okay. So for the firms that pioneer or test leaderships or an emerging industry, they capture the first mover advantage. Okay. First mover advantage is sometimes gained by the first company to establish a significant positions in a new market. Okay, just like what I said just now, the example, Kodak companies, the Colgate companies, okay, they are the first mover advantage. They have the first mover advantage. And the second type of industry is the fragmented industry, industry that are characterized by a large number of firms of approximately equal size. Okay, equal size. So what are the opportunities that they have? Okay, they have the consolidations. Consolidations. So the primary opportunities for them is to consolidate the industry and establish the industry leaderships. Okay, so the common way how they do this one is through the geographic rollout strategies. Okay, in one of the firms, they will start acquiring similar firms that are located in different geographic area. And this is an often also part for the growth for the business, okay, such as auto repair shops, the beauty salons, and it's difficult for them to generate additional income in the single locations. Okay, so they try to expand into a new geographic area. Okay, they expand. They opens a lot of branches in the other states. And the next industry is the mature industry. This industry are experiencing slow or no increase in demands. Okay, if you know about the cycle of the business, okay, the mature industry, they experience a very slow growth. Okay, so what are the opportunity here? For the mature industry, they can process innovations or they can do the after sales service innovations. For example, for the machine industry, okay, they can change the packaging, okay, to make the products look fresh again, look new again. Okay, this is what they can do for the machine industry. And the next one is the declining industry. This type of industry, they are experiencing in the reductions in demands. Okay, for example, the declining industry, DVD, video games, okay, DVD, video games, okay, and then what are music tabs, okay, all of these are the declining industry. More people don't use all of this product anymore. So what are the opportunities here? Okay, first, we can adopt the leadership strategies. Okay, leadership strategies, we can establish a niche markets, pursuing a cost reduction strategies. Okay, and the next type of industry is the global industry. The global industry, with the word global, we know that it's involved the international sales. Okay, in while we do involve the export and also imports. So one of the opportunity here is the multi-domestic and also the global strategies. The firms that pursue a multi-domestic strategies, they compete for the market share, okay, on a country by country basis, okay, for their product or services offering. Okay, and for the global strategies, okay, they use the same approach in all foreign markets. Okay, the choice between these two strategies depends on how similar the consumer tastes are from markets to markets. For example, McDonald's, they pursue multi-domestic strategies. Okay, if you go to the other country, you can find that the menu of McDonald's are different with the menu of Malaysia's here, Malaysian McDonald's here, okay, McDonald's and Malaysia here. The menu are different because they try to adapt to the culture of the countries. Okay, if you go to the other country, foreign country, you can find that pork burger available at the McDonald's. Okay, but why is not available at our country? Because our country is a Muslim country. Okay, majority are Muslim. So they try to adapt to the cultures in each of the countries. Okay, they try to compete. Okay, try to make the product very difference. Okay, in order to meet the demand of the local markets. This is multi-domestic strategy. If for the global strategy, no matter where they open their branch, okay, at what country, the strategy are the same. Okay, this is global strategies. Next one is the competitors analysis. Okay, what is competitor analysis? Competitor analysis is a detailed analysis of a firm's competitions, and it helps a firm understand the positions of its major competitors and the opportunities that are available. The competitive analysis grid is a tool for organizing the information a firm collect about its competitors. Okay? Here are the examples. Here are the examples of the competitive analysis grids. Okay? For example, here are the characteristics that you want to compare with your competitors. For example, in terms of the price, in terms of selection, in terms of the environment. And at this side are the competitors' name. Okay, competitors' name. And for example, price. Panera is your own company and the others is competitors' name. For example, price. If the price with the Alistair Daily, okay, you offer the same price, you can put event here. If Panda Express will offer a lower price, you can put advantage here. Okay. This is the example of the competitor analysis grids. Okay, so types of competitors. We have direct competitors, we have indirect competitors, and we have future competitors. For the direct competitor, okay, these are the business that offer identical or similar products. Okay, they sells the same product. For example, the hawker that sells the kampua meat. Okay, this is the direct competitor. Okay, they sells identical, they sells similar product. Okay, the indirect competitors are the businesses that offering cost-sensitive product. Okay, for example, Coca-Cola company and also the Pepsi companies. Okay, they are the indirect competitors. Okay, another indirect competitors, the company that sells coffee, milk, tea, Milo. Okay, these are the indirect competitors. Future competitors, business that are not yet direct or indirect competitors, but could be at any times. Okay, they are the future competitors. So what are the source of the competitive intelligence, okay, that you can use? Do you know what is competitive intelligence? This competitive intelligence is the way how we collect the information about our competitor. Okay, this is what we call is as competitive intelligence. The informations about the competitors. Okay, so how we collect the competitive intelligence? First, to complete a competitive analysis grids, a firm they must first understand the strategies and also the behavior of its competitors. Okay, then you can gain the informations by learning about its competitors. Okay, in what we refer as the competitive intelligence. And for the new venture, they should take care that is collect competitive intelligence in a professional and ethical manner. So here are the way that you can use. Okay, for example, you can attend the conference and also the trade show. You can purchase the competitor product. Okay, buy the product, compare with your product, learn what are the competitive advantages they have. Okay, over your product. Okay, learn about their strategies. Okay, what are their advertising strategies? Okay, and then you can study about the competitor website and social media site. Okay, here you can know when they do the promotions, what kind of promotions they offer. And then set out Google email alerts. Okay, Google email alerts about the competitors' product services. You also can read the industry-related books, magazine, and website, or talk to the customer about what motivates them to buy your product as opposed to your competitors' product. This one is face-to-face methods. Okay, face-to-face methods. So how you complete the competitive analysis grids? Okay, competitive analysis grids is a tool for organizing the information a firm collects about its competitors. So it can help a firm see how it stacks out against its competitor, provide ideas for markets to pursue, and identify its primary source of competitive advantage. Okay, this is an example of the competitive analysis grid just now. Okay, example here, okay. For example, let's say in terms of the price, okay, in terms of the price, this is your company, Canada Breast. All of these are your competitor. Let's say you have the same price, you can put event, okay, event here, okay. And let's say Panda Express, okay, the price is lower than your price. That means Panda Express has advantage over your product, right? So you put advantage here, they have advantage, okay. And let's say in terms of the selections, okay, menu selections. Let's say the menu is very little. You have a lot of different menu, but this competitor only have few menu. So this means they have disadvantage, right? You have the advantage. They have disadvantage. So you put disadvantage there. Okay. So that's how you fill in this competitive analysis grids for the Panera Press. So we complete chapter 5. Any questions for chapter 5? So today we complete chapter 5 and on Friday I will complete chapter 6. Okay, so next week you have your midterm examinations. Your midterm examinations is BN207 is on Friday. Okay, I said it on Friday. I will cover chapter 1 until chapter 6 for your midterms. Okay, the formula is R1 MCQ 20 questions and probably is case study.